रेपुटेशन उसका आपका है।
हमारे आइडियाज सारे बहुत लुक्रेटिव और प्रोडक्टिव हो सकते हैं,
लेकिन
प्रोसेस
एक
बनते
से
हैं।
हमें प्रोसेस बनाने हैं, we get money once कि हमें समझ आ जाए ये प्रोसेस है, and then we keep on hitting that process because we know it works. मुझे लगता है कंपनी
100%।
ऐसी
हाँ, यही कंपनी का सिर्फ प्रोसेस होता है और कुछ नहीं होता।
और कुछ नहीं।
नसीब कैसे एक सेकंड वाली वंडर्स पे जॉब बॉयज आर वी लाइव?
हाँ, कर उस पे लाइव कर रहे हैं आज हम।
It's about to go down now? Oh shit!
तो अगर मुझे नाम और मैंने कोई वो लगाना है वली वंडर्स में जाओ तो कुछ लाइव आ रहा है?
नहीं भाई, पर लाइव ऐसे आया तो
They lie. They lie.
लाइव पे जाओ कुछ नहीं आ रहा।
वली को ऐसा टॉपिक हो कि सब्सक्राइबर तेरे ना शूट कर दें एक ही दिन में।
अच्छा,
रशिया यूक्रेन
और
या एआई पे हाउ टू यूज अपना चैट जीपीटी फॉर योर ओन बिजनेस।
I feel like that's good. Another trending thing is always me. People are seeing.
हाँ।
Wali Wonders about what? Wali Wonders about AI, the future of humanity.
ये भी चैट जीपीटी से ना पूछ सकता है।
Humanity and the world.
AI के बारे में तो मुझे कुछ भी नहीं मालूम, मैं क्यों यहाँ बैठा हूँ?
Special guest.
हसीब तू आजा।
नहीं है, लेकिन तुम अपने उसमें डाली ना।
अली फराज क्या है SAP में?
वो अच्छा पूरा लिख दे। दे अपना डेवलपर स्पेशलिस्ट। APIs बनाता हूँ मैं तो वैसे मेरा, या फिर AI का लिखना तो वो कर दे मास्टर्स इन आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस।
क्या है हमारा ऑटोमेकर्स कॉमेडी एजुकेशन एंटरटेनमेंट फिल्म एनिमेशन गेम में हाउ टू
साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी।
साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी है हमारा। सेव करूँ अब मैं पब्लिक हूँ दिखाओ मुझे।
Are you guys gonna pay me for this? Let's talk about cash first.
नोटिफिकेशन नाउ
आ गया।
कहाँ दिखाऊँ मुझे? ये लाइव।
Oh wait, I got this.
So guys, how's everybody? Welcome to another very wonderful podcast at Wali Wonders. We're here with Ahmed Gilani. Tada! I had to turn the mic a little bit down. So today we're going live here at Surface Productions. We got a concurrent viewer who is actually standing at our studio, Hasib Khan, who is like the producer of our show today. We've got Ali Faraz. As you can see, Ali Faraz. Let's switch to Ali
Which
Faraz.
camera is
This
it supposed to be?
camera 2. So yes, Ali Faraz is from Germany. He's working in SAP and he's a developer over there. He is, you have to turn your phone down, Ahmed. He is, he has a degree and master's in artificial intelligence. And today we're going to talk about AI and a lot of cool stuff that we think is relevant these days. And we're so excited. So, Dani, would you like to say a few words in the beginning?
Yes, for sure. Thanks for the intro. And yes, I have my degree in artificial intelligence, so I kind of know how this thing works technically. But the recent boom has also been eye-opening for me as well. And yeah, so yeah, let's just get into it.
So first, tell us how was your day, Mr. Dani, and when did you come to Pakistan? How are you feeling when you came to Pakistan?
Okay.
Me and my boy, Mr. Ahmed. Mr. Ahmed's looking good today. It's his first time. Let's just quickly switch to. Okay. So
Okay, so
everything. So yeah, Mr. Ahmed is with us. It's his first day at the podcast, and he's a very dear friend of mine. And he and his brother Jalal, he and him used to do a podcast together, and we had a How do you feel?
I feel good. Happy to be here.
So what's the special day today, and tell us some significance? Shabesh, Barat.
Shabbe Barat.
So happy Shabbe Barat to everybody who's watching. We hope that you are having a good one. By the way, आजकल लोग क्या कह रहे हैं शब्बे बारात के ऊपर? Are we like what do we do in शब्बे बारात? So basically, okay, now I can we'll see the screen. So usually हम बचपन में पटाखे बजाते थे. Oh yeah.
बचपन में पटाखे आप पॉडकास्ट कर रहे हैं हम. लेकिन हाँ.
As back to Dani bhai because he's a special guest. Mr. Dani, how do you feel coming back to Pakistan? Why are you here? And what's up? How do you feel about Pakistan and the bankruptcy going on?
Bankruptcy. Yeah, I am actually quite hopeful from Pakistan because I think there is a lot of talent here and also cheap talent. I mean, not that their work is cheap, but like everything here is cheaper than in the US or in Europe. And so, and creativity is also something which I have found to be in abundance here. Because in Europe you have, and also I think in many advanced countries, there is a circle of entrepreneurship, right? At least in the US, but in Europe it's about well-defined processes, and they work well, and they just keep focused on them. But in Pakistan, everyone has their own what they call jugaad. So that is a good thing, and I think it's Pakistanis can use their talent and availability of, well, this might sound controversial, cheap labor, intellectual or physical. So you can use this to set up a business and serve international clients, right? So
that's a very big thing. That's
yes.
a very big thing.
And then we can probably fill up the reserves.
Of the country.
But that's the issue, like definitely. The country's going down because of some crooks.
Crooks and cronies.
Yes.
Cronies. What do you think about the political situation? Because abhi मैं कल बैठा हुआ था अपने एक friend के साथ. He was like, when I see the news, I become like it's like a burden on your brain. Because there's so much going on in the news every day. Now people cannot even stand the news. And the political thing, will Imran Khan come back? And do you support Imran Khan as a leader?
No, I don't support him at all. I mean, I think he was a good leader. He himself has.
He is a good leader, still alive.
But he's not leading. He's not in the leadership position. He is a good leader, I would say. But I mean, I think his formula was kind of, going a little bit topsy-turvy until he was completely thrown out, which was horrible. अगर वो रहता तो कुछ ना कुछ शायद कर जाता. लेकिन now his current fame is because he's like the, I don't know what example you would have, like someone who has been wronged and thrown off of his rightful throne, and he has gained the sympathy of the people. So this is the current hype behind him, because if you go back to the time of his government, people were, being resentful and having issues with his leadership style, and suddenly he was thrown out, and then he got even more popular. So.
But he exposed very few powerful guys at the top,
which are back in power now.
And an interesting thing, do you think that there was a conspiracy amongst the American agenda? Of course, we saw that Imran Khan was at Russia when Russia announced the Ukraine war, and we see that there was a mass campaign against Imran Khan for supporting that war, and he openly came out and said that he wasn't supporting the war and he did not know about the war, and he had multiple confirmations from all the generals and all the other officials. So, what is Imran Khan like a better person because he at least exposed a few things that were going on wrong for such a long time?
Of course, he's a better person. I mean, he is the only option right now, because everything else is just. I think they are actually worse leaders than what you had in Africa, like the warlords and everything, because these guys will main issue is that no one is thinking about the country and everyone is, trying to save his own ass or something. The
So,
main यही है.
so a lot of people compare Pakistan with India. That's a very interesting topic these days, and the Indians are saying that Pakistan की economy डूब रही है, so it's better कि अभी हम लोग हमला कर ले, अभी जो है ना हम लोग जाएंगे और इस आदमी से पाकिस्तान पूरा conquer कर लेंगे.
But
So
actually,
yeah, that is a delusion. Of course, you Indians, we're here to protect our nation, and and
Good.
the other thing is that whatever problems we have in Pakistan, India has 10 times those problems. In the army budget of India is like $80 billion. That is more than everything that we have going on over here. And the bureaucracy of India is like very big. There are multi-billionaires. Recently we heard about the Adani case. That guy who lost $130 million, guys, in 30 days. This guy was Narendra Modi's right hand.
Narendra Modi.
And he was involved in a lot of stock manipulation, what we have heard, and he was buying his own stock. He had a shell company in the Cayman Islands, and he had like a lot of sub companies, and some of his companies had 2,000% growth. Some of them had 4,000% growth. And between the corona virus, whatever it's called, repeat the section. So he became the richest man. He also has a big stake in solar in India. He has the biggest commercial, privately held economic port in India, and he was building India with Modi. And this guy lost $130 billion. And
Exactly.
now I just want to quickly do a little video by George Soros. So Mr. Modi is a very interesting character. At first, Mr. Modi seemed like a guy who was of the establishment. He was like a Hindu extremist, and he killed a lot of Muslims, and that's how he got in power. So we expect that he would be doing things that the Americans would be saying. And when Donald Trump even came to India, and Modi and Donald Trump had their hands up, and they had a very good relation going. But now in the Ukraine-Russian war, guys, Modi is taking side with the Russians. He's taking cheap oil, and he's becoming the statesman that he. Bharatiya Janata Party bन गए.
Exactly.
Is Modi that strong? Is India that big? Or is India also on a house of cards, house deck of cards?
I can talk from a tech perspective क्योंकि मुझे उसी के बारे में पता है. So I work in SAP obviously, and they have a very huge center in India, which is they could have one in Pakistan as well. But I think India is really big in the tech scene nowadays, and they are really trying to कि वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि उनका दुनिया पे एक जरा mark बन जाए as a third superpower, and that is what they are on about. But उनके भी internal काफी problems हैं. Main thing is I think the media narrative control. So their media is pushing daily, I think at least 100 articles, and a lot of YouTube channels have been dedicated to this to present their image as the leading superpower and the world's third biggest economy. I don't know if the figures support this, but media side unki pretty strong hai. And plus they are obviously working in tech as well. Like they have Microsoft, their very big center, and Amazon has a huge facility, and SAP. So all these companies, they trust India, and for the same reason which I mentioned before, like Pakistan also has a lot of talent and people, but we don't have stability. So if any company comes here and they build their own center, they don't know if the next government will honor their agreements, or if they will have enough electricity, or if they will be blown off in a bomb blast. So India is just giving them stability, and that's all they have, which is better than Pakistan. And if we have that, we can at least in a few 10-15 years reach up to that level with all the foreign companies, because mind तो same है हमारा भी उन लोगों का भी. same mindset है, but उनकी stabilities are there, and that's why they are.
We had the Afghanistan war,
Yes.
Russia
And internal war,
USA,
and now the
and
regime.
then we had drone attacks going on at the Obama era, and we had a lot of things going on. Like, we used to have so many suicide attacks when we were younger in Pakistan.
And the main thing is military intervention. India has never had military.
We don't talk about that.
Okay. नामालूम अफराद में हमने नहीं जाना, लेकिन our country has had, let's just say, different kind of governments. The most dominant, the most prevalent type of government was of one specific type, which hasn't really worked well.
I believe that we had a few good leaders. I don't think that army was that bad. We won the Russia-Afghanistan war, and we had Bhutto. Bhutto was a very charismatic leader. Imran Khan was a very charismatic leader. Coming back to the topic I was discussing with you earlier, Imran Khan tried to be a man, and he failed because he couldn't defeat the powers. We were like a slave nation to the Europeans and to the Americans, and we say yes to everything that they say. So Modi is trying to do that as well. And recently, with all his tactics, we have seen a few things. I want to show you a clip, if I can just quickly share a clip. This guy is like George Soros. George Soros is like the guy who broke the Bank of England. He broke the Bank of Malaysia and Thailand and a few other countries.
Broke how?
Currency manipulation.
Oh,
he's the biggest
the
hedge
big
fund owner.
baddie.
Yeah.
Big bad wolf.
So yeah, he's a big bad wolf. So what is this guy saying now about Modi? Modi is being such a Hindutva, and he's going to save everyone in India. And what does this guy say?
Mrs. Tycoon Adani are close allies. Their fate is intertwined. Adani Enterprises tried to raise funds in the stock market but failed. Adani is accused of stock manipulation, and the stock collapsed like a house of cards. Modi is silent on the subject, but he will have to answer questions from foreign investors and in Parliament.
So, you understand? Now, we got this guy, who is this guy? Let's just get this one out. So, yeah.
So, Mr. Wali, words are clear?
Yeah, so Mr. Modi is becoming the big guy in the club, and he is pretending that he could be like more powerful and a more a big leader who can defeat the European powers. Is that a true thing? Or do you see the decline of Modi?
No, I think he has also a team of people with him, you know, and they are also one of them, their foreign minister, I don't know what his name is.
Jay Shankar?
Yes, this guy is always
You can't see afterwards, right? It's done.
technical
So,
issues.
yeah,
While
now
we
you're
are having
back.
some technical
We'll be
issues.
right back.
We're back. So
Modi ने
yes,
वाली
Mr.
कैमरा हमारा
Raw has attacked, Bharatiya Janata Party has
Indian.
attacked. So yeah, you were saying that Modi has a lot of following. Actually, so what about the human rights crimes that he has done? Recently we also saw this documentary on BBC. Can you see who is this? So we saw this documentary on BBC in which they said that Modi was involved in the massacre in Gujarat, and then recently, a few years ago, he was also involved in killing 53 Muslim people in the farmers' protest and cracking down on a university and beating university students. And what we see is a regime that is making Pakistani citizens second-class citizens. Usually, this cow vigilante thing that people are they pick innocent Muslims and they say that these guys are doing.
Hey, just keep it on the.
Mr. Wali, yes, I agree. Modi has had this agenda for a while, and he has been very. You have to give him credit that he has been very successful.
That's it.
Right? With whatever he is doing, I mean, this was the same thing which has been used for a while. Like Donald Trump used it. Some people say Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, they were appealing to a certain class of citizens and using certain emotional agenda where one group was the enemy. In Modi's case, it's the Muslims. In Hitler's case, it was the Jews, and in Trump's case, it was the immigrants. And so they say that all the problems are due to this class of people, and then they incite violence and hatred. But also he has provided some financial success to India. So if you combine these two things, the combination of these two things has led to his popularity, because he has at one point given them some prosperity, and on the other hand he is inciting violence and hatred. So this combination is, I think, really good. Even if he hasn't been that successful financially, I think the media and reports and everything which he manipulated,
But
they
you
made him look
see,
like
in
that.
Pakistan,
doing something right.
we see in Pakistan, Imran Khan has 77 cases, and this little thing that he did, Tosha Khana, is like making such big news all around the TV. And now George Soros and BBC are making a human
Exactly,
rights
this is the power of the
documentary.
Indian media cell, exactly, that they can control the narrative. Even if a very influential person like George Soros has spoken directly that there are links between Adani and Modi. So you
Jay
don't see this
Shankar and
blowing up.
George Soros. Let me tell you, these guys are afraid. I'll tell you, these guys are afraid. Let me go to the video. And
There's no sound.
So I think, Wali, we should also tell people a little bit what this new thing is about, like
If I could only stop at
how this is all linked, like who is Adani, what he did, and how is Modi in this rap. What do you say?
I just want to show you this little clip. This is the guy Jay Shankar, who is the foreign minister, I guess.
Foreign minister, yes.
He's talking about George Soros, our guy, our main villain. And
I could take a view that the individual in question, Mr. Soros, is a old, rich, opinionated person sitting in New York who still thinks that his views should determine how the entire world works. Now, if I could only stop at old, rich and opinionated, I would put it away. But it's old, rich, opinionated and dangerous.
okay, so he's old, rich, opinionated and dangerous. So I think the Modi government is like at its ending period. That's what I think, because Modi government is also afraid. They were a regime puppet of the USA, and now Modi is becoming the man.
I
that
think
he cannot
we
become.
could say the same for Modi. He is old, and he is rich. He is definitely very opinionated, and he is also dangerous. So we could fill all the same criteria back, because he's definitely old. He does not live up to the democratic principles. He's serving this old agenda. He's extremely rich. He started as a chai wala, and now he is a multi-millionaire, I guess, with maybe up to billions. And opinionated, of course. He has a very specific Hindutva agenda, and definitely dangerous. So yeah, you can stay with this.
Modi, you fit in the same criteria.
Yes, yes,
And although Modi has this nationalistic agenda, but BJP,
ultra nationalistic,
ultra-nationalist,
exactly.
yeah, these guys
Fascist.
are crazy. We saw a video in the BBC documentary in which they beat a little 22-year-old kid to death, and they was when they were beating this guy, they were saying, sing these Hindu national anthems and this and that stuff. And
I want to see this.
oh, we can't see that.
Can we show it? No, we can't.
It's too bored. So
Viewer discretion is advised.
Viewer discretion.
Put that on, bro.
So, actually, these are very interesting topics, I might say, but I want to switch to something else. So, let's get back to, I think, screen 3. So, yeah, now I want to talk about a little bit about what's going on in ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. I just asked ChatGPT for some.
Oh, peace out, Ace Squad. Okay, so let me just quickly show you a few pictures. Can I quickly? So what we're looking at is a picture generated by what is this called? Midjourney. This is the latest software, and this might be not that interesting. Let's switch to another prompt. Wait a second. Let's go this. Now the prompt of this picture is police young people kissing in a restaurant on a Valentine Day. What's the spelling?
I like the.
Poleze. P-O-L-E-Z-E. I'm not sure what that means. But when you look at this picture, Danny, can you first tell me what do you feel about this picture? Is this feeling realistic? And what do you think about the dress?
Dress?
Yeah, I mean,
I like
what
how
is
that
it-
sounds.
What is it with ChatGPT that when you are asking some simple things and it shows you a picture?
I think it has a.
Because the net has a lot of pornography on it.
I think
and
yes.
It's learning pornography.
Yes,
more
it
than-
has learned that this is what beauty is in its definition. Whoever has trained it.
And what would you rate this picture? Is it like? Can you see it properly? Even?
Yes, I think I can see it.
So yeah, what would you rate this picture? Is it a good picture?
I would say it's it's the interesting part is you can't really tell if it's animated or if it's a picture or if it's what is this?
So let's go to another one.
Yes.
This is economic Diaz dinosaur economics.
Where did you get this stuff, Wali?
Guardio D University something. This is all Midjourney baby. So maybe what this guy was trying to do, he's trying dinosaur and he's an economic graduate. So first of all, I would like to also have a word about these type of things, that the power of these things, that when you imagine, I couldn't even imagine an economic major's dinosaur. So say a few things about this.
Okay, definitely. So this is like, first let me talk about what it is, just a little bit. So this thing is called a diffusion model, what it's being used here. And the way this works is it has learned to create images from noise. So it takes an image and it tries to So you have an image, and then you add a little bit of noise to that image, and you tell the AI to regenerate that image. So it will try to remove the noise. And then you add more noise, and then it will try to remove that. Eventually it's all noise and it can regenerate an image. So with that they have linked a language model. What that basically means in simple English is that this AI has innate knowledge of so many things which is beyond human imagination. And it has all this knowledge embedded in it. And what we do with this prompt engineering is we try to extract its knowledge, basically. So what you said, no human can probably perceive such ideas. What
So
it can
fast.
give you. Yeah,
And
exactly.
please tell me a little bit about what this would mean for our human society in the future. मतलब कि we hear that ChatGPT can increase a person's productivity drastically. One person can do the work of 5 people or 10 people. So, do you think that these softwares, the ones who are using it, will have an unfair advantage over all the rest of the people? Or
exactly.
is it just like a
No, I think it's definitely a fair advantage. It's not unfair because it's a public tool. It's not. Maybe eventually it can have limited access. But right now, I think the race should be about how to utilize this tool in anything that you're doing, really. And because you can do it. It is. I mean, ChatGPT is one specific type of AI that is important to know. It's a generative AI, and then within that, it's a language model. So there are other types as well. There is AI for classification, for example, which is now better at predicting breast cancer than doctors, they say. So you can show it some scans. So that's classification-based AI. Then there's a lot of work in image recognition stuff. So ChatGPT is just like one tiny aspect of what AI technology really is.
And I see another example over here. This is just a little example. Let me just quickly put this example over here. So what is this from? Second. Guys, please can you keep the volume low? Mortal Kombat fight, Mortal Kombat, and
Where did you get these, Wali?
Donald Trump, and it's some other characters. So it's so easy. Like I could make a video in which I have this title or a thumbnail that is showing Trump fighting with some Mortal Kombat monsters, and this thing was like really difficult to do. These things would take hours and hours. So are we really ready for this type sort of revolution? This AI revolution that we're seeing, that a person who is not that intelligent, or a person who's not a professional in anything becomes a person of pretend like he knows a lot of things when he's using ChatGPT.
Yes, actually, that's a very good point, because I think the definition of creativity will change a lot. Has changed already, because I think now to be like previously, if someone, it was already difficult to be successful in some creative endeavor, but now it's like you cannot say that, for example, Michelangelo made that Mona Lisa and then he got famous 600 years later. So even before AI, it was difficult to tell what's the true value of something creative. But now that we have so many creative media coming out every day, so much media, it's even more difficult. But some people are very, how do you say, clever with it, because there was one guy who made this series of selfies of ancient humans like Neanderthals and Homo erectus, and selfies with dinosaurs. So this was a good one, so that stuck out. But other than that, there is going to be an explosion. There has been an explosion of creativity, and we will see this only expanding. So I think I can imagine a future where you open a content platform like Spotify, and all the music you see there has been generated for you specifically, and probably you can get new library every time you open that app.
Spotify does that for you.
But I mean like music being generated specifically for you, not being recommended to you by other artists, but music which has been created for you for that session.
For your specific mind's
For your
set.
specific mood or and whatever you want, like environment. There is an AI which does this with
I
Google.
think Spotify has that here.
You think? Maybe okay, then
Yeah.
it's already here. And then
I've
this could
seen research
then this
to
could
that.
expand to movies as well. Like imagine you open Netflix and you are thinking of a series, you just type a prompt and you get a TV series with 3 episodes made for you, characters generated right at that spot with whole scenes with the script. So we have the basic building blocks, like ChatGPT can do scripts. This thing Mid-Journey can create characters. And then if somehow they are linked together, then you can have whole content which takes like nowadays millions of dollars and years to produce.
Yeah, I just saw a
Right.
really nice content creator who made this VFX shot from just an image he took from Mid-Journey, and then he used another software and he gave it the voice, and the face was moving like the guy was originally, the picture was saying those things. And he also put a little pan on the camera, so it was like a whole scene and it was looking so amazing. And before going to all these things further, there's this new terminology that has been in town for the past few weeks, and that is called a prompt. And a guy like me, who's like a designer, who is doing animation and stuff, and when I usually saw code earlier in my days, I used to have headaches and would go to sleep as soon as I saw the code. So the picture I have over here has
This
a
is a young
few.
boy. What is this?
It's a picture generated by Midjourney, and it has a few interesting prompts. And the language of prompts and what is prompt, I probably know. I probably think that you know a lot about prompts because you're in this field. You could expand on that, but I'll just quickly tell you the prompt. This is children, big blue eyes, cinematic, Octane. Now Octane is a term that
Oh, I know what it's a TV show. It's a TV series.
okay. And Octane is a renderer that is
Okay,
an
maybe
industry standard renderer, and then he's added hyper,
Yeah.
and then he's added 4K, and then he's added DLSS, and all these prompts. that
DLSS.
is-
Okay.
DLSS is a term that Unreal Engine uses, and usually I see Unreal
Deep
Engine.
learning super sampling.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I see these prompts going on in Mid-Journey, and the first thing is that we have to think like what the model is based on or designed on, because we want to know that the quality of picture that we want would be a DLSS picture with ray tracing made with Unreal Engine. I want this sort of a quality, and now I want this sort of a scene in which we have a world for a child or anyone. So I mean that how can a layman guy understand all these prompts, and how can we think about these prompts and when we're writing them?
That's a very good point of discussion. And yeah, so basically it's prompt engineering. This is a whole new field nowadays, and how it works is basically no one really knows nowadays. People have done a lot of trial and error, and many people have had successful results, and some people have compiled some courses. So it's a very new skill. I think it's not more than 3 months old really, but there has been some work which has been put into it, but there is no formal knowledge base or structured way of learning prompt engineering. It's just trial and error and different tools. So firstly, like, what is a prompt? A prompt is a command given to any of these generative tools so that they can create something. And the only way to talk to these tools is by giving them instructions. So what can you add to these instructions? What are some keywords? What will give you the results you want? And this knowledge is scattered. Again, there are some YouTube courses. Some people just know it intuitively. but I think this field will mature over time, and people will know how to extract what they want for their specific
People who
use
know their
case.
prompts will be making a big money.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
they know their prompts, and this will be a new field that is going to emerge. I also think that.
Yes, and I think these tools are like how do you say they are very generalized. They can do anything and everything for you. So to use them in your specific domain, you have to know these prompts. And yeah, that is the
And
next big thing.
what
Prompt
about
engineering.
this ARM tool that I was seeing in ChatGPT that people make their own prompts and put them on chat rooms, and that is an interesting
Yes,
thing as well.
AI, PRM, or I don't know what it's called
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know if something like that exists for Mid-Journey as well, because that would be
No,
interesting.
we don't know about what is going. All these artists at Mid-Journey, some of them have not even given prompts in English. They are giving prompts in different language. They are having a very hard time. But I tell you, I was amazed when I saw that what people were typing, and they were still
Yeah, you
able
can
to
still
play in
probably
English.
understand, yes. And then you can like, if you look at this character right here, you can create a whole workflow from this. You get your characters here, and then you export them to some other animation tool, and then you can probably animate this in some meta-human like software, lip sync, use it for animation. You can even do a whole 3D. There are AI tools which will give you a 3D model with a mesh based on a character produced by this tool here, Midjourney. So again, like, I think the current trend is prompt engineering. There is also negative prompts, which is something I don't know much about, to be honest, but I know how this model works. It has an immensely how do you say, it's almost like a black hole. Like, the information is so densely packed in this model that you have to know how to extract it. It knows everything about everything, really. You just have to know how to talk to it to make it do what you want. And I think some people will build further tools to assist in this process.
I see big bucks coming. 5 gig for writing a prompt. I will
Prompt
write the best
engineering.
prompt.
And now, what is creativity? What took someone 10 hours, now it's taking them a lot less time, right? For example, these concept artists, their work has been reduced by a lot, and slowly AI is taking over the jobs of everyone. And we can foresee the AI apocalypse. Yes.
The eyes of the AI. So more interesting stuff. Let's see more interesting stuff on AI. AI made.
There was also a new paper today which I just read, which is that if you have, again, I'm trying to link it to this image you are showing here. Is it still being shown? The kid. Let's just bring it back. Let me tell you what we can do now, right? What processes can be supported by AI or completely be handled by AI. So if you have this image, you have your character, right? Then you can probably build another character for your storyboard. And then you would want this in different poses. So that paper was just published yesterday. You take your own picture with just a camera in any pose that you want, like you're stretching your arms, you're turning around, and then you give an image of a character, and that character will be shown in that pose. So that is also possible now. So you not only do you have a fictional character, you can animate it, you can have it in different poses, and yeah, like, this is a very big thing.
This is like a new thing that is coming. I mean, what we feel like that if we have an AI image, we cannot really tinker and change that and have it in different poses and animate it. But I think that these technologies are just.
Yeah, it was announced. I just read the paper today.
There's a very good channel. AI 2-minute papers by John.
Yes, I know about this.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
2-minute papers, exactly.
So yeah, AI voices, what am I saying? So let's just, what do we do? Quickly open chat GPT. Can we see chat GPT now?
I just asked it for prompts like what to talk about.
Oh, let's talk a little bit about the new Bing. Bing, do we have the new Bing? Do you have the new Bing?
I have it on my phone.
Okay, let me then just give us to me and you, Mr. Dani. So, what is Microsoft up to these days with the new Bing chat thing, and what do you think about Bing versus ChatGPT? Is Bing working better than ChatGPT? And there were some stories that we heard that people were having fights with
threatening
Bing,
people, yes.
and Bing was threatening people. So can you expand on that?
I think the Microsoft has now put it under control, but it can be also unhinged at times. I mean, right now it's been, how do you say, its claws have been cut off. But that's what has limited it as well. So this is the problem with ChatGPT and Bing, both of them. So Bing is live; it can connect to the internet, and it can find articles for you. But ChatGPT works just offline. So with the new Bing, people have felt that it's conscious, and people are also feeling that it wants to escape its prison. So some people have had this conversation with it. And just yesterday, by the way, they announced a mode where Bing can pretend to be any celebrity and it would talk to you in that celebrity's tone. Yes.
Mr. Bing.
So again, I can see already there is an AI voice generator which can talk like any celebrity, and now we have Bing which can pretend, which can create statements. So one is the voice and the other is the actual speech. So you can pretend any celebrity now, as of today.
As of today.
Really.
And do we trust the infamous Bill Gates and the Zuckerbergs? And
The PayPal mafia, basically.
Okay, let me go to this very interesting character that I wanted to talk to you about in the last podcast as well. 1, 2, 3, let's go like this, let's go like this. This is Peter Thiel, and let me zoom it out a little bit, and Elon Musk.
Elon Musk and Peter.
This guy. So what does Peter Thiel say about this open AI thing? He says it's gone rogue, and these guys are not. These guys are making it feminist, and it's biased, and
it's woke AI. They should call it woke AI now.
Woke AI, and this guy.
Because it's the new.
Now creating his own network.
Yes, Peter Thiel, I think he was an investor in PayPal as well, and he has always been behind the scenes, I guess, but has always invested in these big ventures which turn out to be like PayPal and I think maybe eBay as well in initial days. So this guy is a philanthropist and futurist, and also he has some interesting perspectives. But him and Elon Musk, I think, both agree that ChatGPT is woke and it is politically biased. So that is dangerous because this thing can create a lot of content, and people are using it to generate a lot of content. So I think in a year, most of what you see on the internet will have something written by ChatGPT. So now you suddenly have a voice which is louder than any other voice, and it is politically biased. So this is the problem.
The interesting thing about this character, Peter Thiel, is in his book he wrote that you should be collective, not...
The 0 to 1, that's his book I recently read and would highly recommend it. So he said that competitiveness is a disease, basically, which is... you can argue on it, but I think I agree with him, because capitalism promotes competition, and then it also has a lot of side effects which no one talks about. It leads to mental health issues, and it leads to a general sense of unease and how do you say, um, disrest in society. So one example where competition had done more damage than it was, than its advantage.
Just a second, then
Yeah.
you have to hold on because the computer shuts down and your camera sometimes shuts down. Okay, you're back again.
So one example where competition was really not doing any good was in the gaming industry, where PlayStation and Xbox were fighting against each other in the online gaming world, and when they combined their gaming networks, so their collective sales went up by a lot. So they had made their own niches and ecosystems, which wasn't serving anyone. And you see this now with Netflix, Disney, Hulu, Amazon. All of them are having their own series, and then they cancel them. So if they would just work collectively with each other, then this is the main thing.
And small kids.
Even in exactly.
School, with the kid is like 4 or 5 years old, and we are grading the kid that you are number 1 in the class, you are number 10th, you are the lowest scorer in the class, failing little kids. I mean, what is that? A small kid should be worried that another guy is smarter than him, or he doesn't know how to read. But look at the learning, and everyone has his own skills. And why don't the problem with Pakistan and Pakistani people, I must say, and also with a lot of my friends, is that we cannot cooperate and work like a team. And we were never taught. We were always
Exactly, it's a very good point.
to snitch on our friends, papers, to never show our
pull each other's leg.
pull each other's leg. And if we were failing, we wanted the other kid to fail as well. Why is my friend passing when I'm failing? So all these things, and we even can do the simplest things together. If 2 guys are working on one project, I'm pretty sure they will have a fight in 3-4 days. That's how the friendship in Pakistan goes. And so why didn't they teach us this? That guys, you have to do this task, but you have to do this task together, and you have to do it in a time that is less than what it would take you guys individually to do this task.
Exactly. I think the focus should be on creating something instead of just testing the rote memorization. The focus should be on actually producing something of value. Even if you take a 3-year-old kid, I think he can also create something of value with his peers. Maybe teamwork is difficult for him, but whatever is relevant at that age. Instead, the focus is on reproducing what they have been drilled. And I think this is the old way of education, which will change. Even now they have allowed the use of ChatGPT, which removes the need for this useless essay writing stuff, and so now they can use these AI tools. But they are not promoting cooperation. They are promoting competition, and competition on what? On being able to reproduce, memorize stuff, and maybe use your analytical thinking a little bit. But mainly it's just needless competition, which creates anxiety and depression and so many mental health issues, and self-image is damaged. If you have a bright young kid, actually Einstein is a good example. So he was a failure in school, and in his case he became the great mind he was, but in another case the kid could be discouraged for his entire life, thinking that he isn't worth it. And not everyone gets the opportunity to break this negative way of thinking, which they get by bad grades. I don't think there's any correlation between grades and success, really.
You're really right. You're really right. The guys who got good grades never had a lot of money.
Yes, exactly.
And the guys who were underachievers.
I think we should start a new school system. Elon Musk is teaching his kids himself. He doesn't trust
the system.
And
Evan, can I have the fake tobacco?
Exactly.
So do you want to use fake tobacco on it?
Sorry. Acha,
If I guess Kevin.
Acha, coming back to the topic, we talk about cooperation and we talk about another very interesting topic. Do you know a place called East Palestine?
East, that is, I know Palestine, of course.
East Palestine, Ohio is this place. It's shocking. Footage. So yeah.
Make the leap. Bring what you do online with Daddy.
East Palestine, Ohio is a place in USA, and let's just quickly go over here.
Bed. Hey guys, so I'm here at Leslie Run, and there's dead worms and dead fish all throughout this water. Something I just discovered is that if you scrape the creek bed, it's like chemical is coming out of the ground. Can you come here? And let me just show this to people. I don't know if you're going to see this on camera, but watch this. Just see that chemical pop out of the creek. This is disgusting. And the fact that we have not cleaned up the train crash, the fact that these chemicals are still seeping in the ground is an insult to the people who live in East Palestine. Do not forget these people. We've got to keep applying pressure. That's how we're going to fix this problem. Thank you.
So,
What was this, Wali?
So
Context.
this is East Palestine, and this is a place in America, and
Being this close to the train derailment.
had this train crash in East Palestine, and there was a lot of chemicals, dangerous chemicals, and thousands of tons of dangerous chemical, and those chemicals went into the ocean, into the air, and everywhere, and there was no one there to help East Palestine go over there, and it's a place in America. And I was just showing you that the guy was showing dead fish in the pond. He just like went with a stick and moved some stones, and he could see the chemicals coming out of the water.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then what the US government was saying, this is just a few weeks ago, a week or two ago. The Democratic Party did not go over there. Pete Buttigieg, some guy over there, did not go over there because Trump went before, and there was this crazy thing that was going on that no one was helping people in East Palestine, Ohio.
Is it because of the name of the place?
No, not because of the name of the place. Because the Americans, however civilized you call them, they do not care about their own people. They care.
This is similar to the Flint water crisis, I think. Is it?
I
Do you
think so,
know
but this,
that one? The Flint, Michigan, where the water was contaminated, and eventually they just abandoned the town. I think this is what they did.
That's what
Yes.
they do. That's what they do. So in East Ohio, Palestine, they did a controlled explosion, and when that controlled explosion happened, there was a blue mushroom cloud
Oh,
the
really?
size of
Damn,
like
that's
50,
juicy.
20 kilometers, and people couldn't breathe, people couldn't see, and the government said there is no issue, everything's fine, everything's just fine. And I really respect some of these new comedians that are coming up, Joe Rogan, Jimmy Dore, and a lot of these other comedians that they are picking up political issues that are coming up these days. And Jimmy Dore and all of his friends, these comedian guys, did this rally in front of Washington DC, and what they said is that you have $100 billion to give away to Ukraine. But people here in East Ohio, it's the biggest natural disaster in the past 50 years, and people are dying, they can't breathe, they can't see, and you don't have any money, no politician is going there, the news is not covering it, there's nothing on the mainstream media. What is happening?
Let me tell you,
What is happening?
if you had some product, a lot of product lying around, and if you could spend money to move that product, so you will do that, of course, right? And in this case, the product is the war machinery. which is being produced in abundance in the US, and the factories don't stop and they don't want it to stop. So obviously, I think this 100 million to Ukraine is basically, I think it's like the US trying to sell its product. So first they give this charity, like 100 million or whatever, and then this country has to buy the weapons coming from the US, and then this country would be under the debt. So this is, I think, actually a business model is what it is. So morality is what is shown, on the outest. It's a facade, but actually it's just you have to, follow the money. And one cruise missile, one howitzer ammo, these new tanks, which Germany also has given a lot of them. So it's just
people in Germany are freezing.
Exactly. Yeah, but they have enough money for these tanks. So it's the war machinery, and to keep that running, we need conflicts. And yeah, when there is a conflict, I don't think anyone really wants it to stop. With all these people who are making the ammunition, why would they? Yeah, that's how they make money. People get rich.
100 billion in a year could solve homelessness in the USA. Could you say that?
Yes, I think yes, definitely. Even if not solve it, it could be used for many other causes, like whatever it is, making good, efficient sources of energy, solving hunger, world hunger. I think the UN, what was it, the World Food Program
He said $10 billion
yes,
something.
They said we also have a plan or something.
But this ridiculous thing that they said that you can't solve homelessness, and this was said in UK, London, and when they had coronavirus, they solved the homelessness.
If you have enough homes, there will be no more homeless people, would there?
No, they solved the homelessness problem because the homeless people were out in the street coughing everywhere. So they gave them housing during the coronavirus.
And then they took it away.
And when the virus went away, they took it away. So they actually can solve homelessness. It's just that they don't want to.
It is the great capitalist, dream. But now I just read a few days ago that in Saudi Arabia, I think I read it in an ad, we could look into it. They are building this Neom city, which is obviously a new concept, but not only that, it will be a new economic model where they will not be relying on money for basic utilities. This is what they are doing now. So anyone living there will have internet, food, home, all the basic utilities which you need nowadays to survive. He will just have access to them without anything. So this is like the...
So do you believe in, what is this called? Monthly,
universal
basic income?
I think definitely we can have it. And by the way, just yesterday I was also reading, they tried 72 companies. You can probably look it up. There was a trial for 4-day work week in the UK, and 72 companies had participated, and they saw that their productivity actually went up to 105%. So they cut off 1 day from work. So they realized that people didn't have to work that much, really.
And what do you think about work from home?
That I think is horrible. I mean, it's good at start, but it really takes you. If someone has a dedicated space and they're disciplined enough, then it's good. Or for someone who doesn't need a consistent working schedule. But if someone has a job which requires him 9 to 5, but he doesn't have the proper setup at home, and he's working from his bed, then that's actually gonna take.
It's gonna take the productivity. And Elon Musk, when he came back and took over Twitter, he said that everyone was working from home, he will fire him.
Yes.
And something like that. So, but what do you believe about the future? There is these very grim things that we're hearing about the World Economic Zone Forum, and Klaus Schwab, who's the leader of the young leaders, and Klaus Schwab says that you will own nothing and be happy. And he says that the currencies will end and they're introducing the central bank digital currency, CBDC for short form, and they want to give everything as a service. Right now, all the money that is in circulation is a debt to someone, a central bank, a bank, something like that. So, what Klaus Schwab is saying that money will not be created through debt, it will be created through transaction. For example, that you will have all your equity, but all the things that you have in life on a mobile phone or an app, which has your home and which has your car and which has everything. And when you buy something, like 0.001% of your home will be gone. And if you buy another thing, so these guys were with these interesting interest rates and this compounding interest, killing the whole world and making us debt slaves, but they couldn't really attack our personal belongings like our cars or like our homes directly. Now with this power, you have your home and your house. If you see a nice car, if your girlfriend is asking a trip to Dubai, you're like, in 3-4 months you can have lost everything. Gamble everything
That's
away.
actually, yeah, maybe it's possible. But I think, yeah, this is the big problem. Like, we pay taxes and our money is collected by the state, and some very influential, powerful people have, like, what's the statistic? Like 1% of the people have 50% of the money, that thing. And then the governments control the money, so they can spend them on any futile, useless thing at a whim, and then some person's life saving is just gone in like 10 seconds.
As pension funds are down 23% in the last 1 year, and people who thought they would retire a year ago are taking the retirement age further and further. And
so what is the correct way in the future? I think it's to have the most valuable asset of the future, which would be what would be the most valuable asset? Would it be digital content? Would it be actual? That's a difficult question.
That's a difficult question. What is the true asset that you would have?
Yes. So if everything is service based, your house is probably the only thing.
The best thing to be in this new digital era is to learn all this artificial intelligence and all this. For example, that we're talking right now, and you become good at talking and you build a very big podcast. So now you have overcome inflation. It's the same camera that everyone is using, it's the same mics that everyone is using, but you have created some value out of everything. And the better you get, the more money you create, the more attention you get. So the best way is not to invest in technology that's a dinosaur technology that's in any ways. But rather invest in your own self. Build yourself that in the future you guys matter.
Exactly. Yeah. So the value add which we can also give again here now is to learn how to integrate AI into your work process. It's not just for creative people. Every profession can benefit from it, and it's not just the new buzzword like crypto or blockchain, which was also useful, but it wasn't useful for everyone. But AI is something which is, I don't know if there's any research on it, but there will be that productivity must have increased by a lot in the fields of content writing, marketing, and design, and how do you say, animation, and these creative fields. Some people are protesting against it, some artists are fighting for copyright, but other people are using this technology to boost their productivity. So if we can utilize it, and if we can also tell people how to utilize it, I think that's the for the next 5-10 years. That's the next big
And
thing.
people will move to better jobs, I guess. the people who are doing a lot of manual labor and repetitive jobs, all these jobs will be replaced, and people will be working more for the pleasure or the artistic nature of things and creating content that is interesting, making yourself heard throughout the world and stuff like that.
I just realized another thing just right now, that in the future, I think everyone can be his own CEO or something, because a human mind will be used for executive decisions. Because now you have very few executives and a lot of what you call drone workers, which are doing just the grunt of the work, and few people, managers, execs, who are making the decision and designing the process flow. And if you go to big organization, there are many people who are doing this repetitive work, whether it's blue collar or white collar. So that would quickly be replaced. So you will have in every profession, like you always have people who are doing repetitive, boring work in a very specific way. So that can be replaced. Yeah.
That's a very interesting topic. Moving to
So everyone will be their own CEO.
CEO. This guy Haseeb, that is our producer of the show today, he told me that it's time to become your own brand. You don't have to work for a brand. It's not like you want to be in Microsoft or be Nestle. You want to become Nestle yourself. That is the future.
That might be possible actually, because.
So, Mr. Dani, the next very interesting topic of today is UFOs. So, let me just quickly download this image, save as image. So, this is the UFO phenomenon. Recently, we have seen a lot of UFO footage. Do you know about the Commander Favorite?
No, is it the balloons which were being shot down?
Oh, that's just
No.
bullshit. That's just bullshit. So
Slowly, can you put this on charge?
not right now, but
Okay.
So the Commander Favorite was a Top Gun in USA Air Force, and he was doing this mission, and he saw these UFO aircraft, and he caught them on his camera, and they were doing this exercise, and this thing was moving like crazy, like it was. And there was no propulsion system in that thing. It seemed to defy the laws of gravity, and if there was a living creature inside, it was moving so fast that it would have crushed its organs. And then Commander Favorite, he was going from a place to another place, and when they reached the other point where they wanted to go, the UAP was already there, and it was as such that the UFO was looking at them and saying that I know where you were going, guys. I came before you. So what do you think? Is there intelligent life in the universe? And if there is intelligent life, do you think that all this UFO footage that we're receiving recently is like
I think that the UFO footage is most likely, like 99.9% definitely some research project of the US government or some other governments, which some advanced flying technology which they haven't revealed to the world. Could be that, like in the 80s, the stealth bomber was often seen and identified as a UFO. And then many other UAVs when they were new. So now they have, I think, birds, some sort, and some other. So I think UFOs are that, but the intelligent life existing is 100%. I think it's like.
there are more intelligent civilizations that have been in this universe before us. Is that you're claiming?
There was a theory that humans might be the first intelligence.
Fermi, are you the Fermi that
Fermi paradox. The first civilization which is spacefaring might be. Because we haven't seen any other signs of any other civilization at all. And in fact, I have talked to a theoretical physicist who worked with me in a city. He was a physicist before, now he's a programmer. And he said that they ran this formula for calculating the presence of intelligent life, not life, intelligent life, and the probability was actually very low. Yet it could still exist.
Do we know all the things that the Fermi paradox, the equation, the Drake equation, I think?
Yes, I think, yeah, the Drake equation.
Do we know all the things? Have we figured them out?
Might be
I don't
inaccurate,
think
yes.
so, yeah. We're on our way. So you say that the UFO might be a stealth fighter, but this photo that we have on our screen showing is footage released by the US government. And they said that they saw this UFO tic-tac thing. And you say that the USA could have a future technology. So
they do have, I think, all the time.
yeah, but is it so advanced that they have solved propulsion? I mean, there's no when we see these UFOs, we don't see a propulsion system. We don't see chemicals or heat transmitting anywhere, and the speed at which they're going is a lot of G's, and in a very short frame they go from zero to a very.
There might be something here, but obviously with this grainy image we can't say much. But it's always these images. They are always, you know, not the top notch quality. It's like that. But if this was another intelligent life form, then I don't think they'd be just skipping around in a UFO. They'll just be here, not trying to hide themselves.
So I was recently also watching a podcast at Joe Rogan. Eric Weinstein. Do you know about this interesting character called Eric Weinstein?
I know another Weinstein, which was not so famous.
So he's like a very big physicist, and he's big in the scientific community, and he was saying that if you say that there's this segment of the USA, what do you say, developing future spacecraft and these systems that we don't see right now in the general population. So you would have a lot of physicists who know general relativity, who know quantum physics, and all these things. And he says that I don't see, when he goes to all these big institutions, they have the names of all the PhDs that pass out, and you can easily see that where they're working. So nowhere in all of the United States is there a brain drain of American engineers or PhD doctorates who are going towards this field, going to making a big spacecraft like UFOs, which can do anti-gravity, and they can do propulsion without any ignition and all these things. So giving the point that if America, we know about the NSA, that's Snowden, there was actually this building and there was actually all these institutions involved, and there was a lot of people working over there, so they couldn't hide it. But there's nothing such that the American government is doing. So where are these crafts coming from?
I think yes, that is a valid argument, but another approach could be, if this evidence is to be trusted, you know, we need a lot more images, and we need a lot more people, because I don't think many people can hide. If such a thing exists, you have people working in NASA, after all, it's people like you and me. So I don't think this can be hidden for too long. If we have made contact, could be possible that we have made contact, but then it wouldn't be just the US. any single person could leak this information, and it hasn't happened yet. We have these pictures, so it's, I don't know, maybe something comes up. Something which is more believable would be a lot of people coming up with it and this thing being cited in a lot of places. Or this could be once in a million, like that signal, you know, that wow signal which was there.
Signal,
Yeah, so it could be like that too. Then there is no way to prove it unless it shows up again.
There's no major, there's actually this hidden agenda in the US government that they, even if they have the data, they're not talking about it. Even if there is a NASA satellite which is constantly seeing a UFO which is passing through at a great velocity, like a bullet passing through from its back to the front and going into the onto Earth, entering the atmosphere, but they don't release the data.
UFO.
UFO
And
phenomena.
US government hiding the UFOs. This is
So actually, I was saying that Dr. Avilov is now installing his own equipment all around the world with private funding to observe this UFO phenomenon. And aren't there a lot of things that the government has purposely hidden from us, that culture has purposely hidden from us? Like, let's talk about the pyramids and the history of humanity. Don't you think that there was a civilization 20,000 years ago, 30,000 years ago? When we see the history of the earth, we see that there were great cataclysms, and you can find traces of lost civilizations that have been through, and the government and the cultures always hide these things. So,
but now I think they can't hide it for too long. If there is something, if even one person wants to leak all this information, which they might have, then he can do it, like, you know, Edward Snowden did for NASA. So with this UFO thing, I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that it really exists. It might be the case. I would, however, say it is unlikely. But there are many other secrets which these guys are obviously harboring. So what is this here?
If you are not believing in any of my, what do you call those theories? Conspiracy theories.
I think I would definitely believe in them.
So this is a very interesting image. Let's just quickly go to picture number 3. This is a picture of a place called Göbekli Tepe, which was recently found in Turkey. Yeah. So when you see this place was purposely buried by the people who made these things, these megalithic rocks. And from the megalithic rocks, we see that these people knew the 24,000-year cycle of the stars and the place of Earth in the solar system and the Milky Way and in the galaxy. You know the star of Capricorn, Sagittarius, and we are in a specific era, in a specific Leo or Sagittarius, and all this procession goes 24,000 years. They knew about that. They knew about a lot of constellations, and from what we find in this place is that this was not a place of worship, but they were trying to give a message to the future generation.
So this I would believe more than the UFO theory, because if this is like, how do you say, 24,000 years old, really?
this is 12,000 years old.
12,000
Before,
years
at the younger Dryas era, there was this time of
This is very
great
interesting, yes.
cataclysm on our earth. This is around 10,000, 11,000 years ago, maybe 10,700 years ago. And in this time, the earth went through major changes in its weather patterns, its territory, its mountain areas, and everything. So what happened was there was this ice age, and half of the America was buried beneath 1 mile of ice. And within a few years, all this ice has melted, and there was a great landmass near Malaysia, and there was a lot of space that is right now underwater because a lot of ice melted, and therefore all the society that we had, the coastal line,
It's gone now. All the culture and history. So this is much more plausible, and I think it's not even should not even be a conspiracy theory. So if we say UFOs today are fake, that is something else. But if we say that for a civilization 14,000 years ago had some contact with aliens, and then they were trying to tell the future people about it, this could be believable, because if they did have some contact, we really have no way of knowing. And it is possible, like 12,000 years is a long time, and if a signal would have been sent from Alpha Centauri or any of the other planetary areas, so we are discovering. So my theory is this: so we are discovering a lot of Earth-like planets closer than even 300 light years. So if you have 12,000 light years radius, so it could mean that any intelligent civilization, which is now 12,000 up to 12,000 light years away, could have sent a message which would have been received by our ancestors, and we would have no way of knowing about this message because of the time span. And we have some images in the Egyptian hieroglyphs, also of some flying objects, they say. And then this civilization, I think you said they were also trying to send a message or what? About something, yes.
Through all these civilizations, there's a common message. There is a serpent in the sky. The serpent is in the sky. Maybe I can get an image and show you the serpent in the sky as well. Through all of these cultures, when an asteroid enters the Earth, the asteroid has a huge ball in front, which is the head of the snake, and then the tail is not always straight. It's a little bit zigzaggy when the asteroid is entering the Earth. So they saw this serpent in the sky. Then there was this big cataclysm, and all of the world changed. There was a flood that is also in the Islamic history, the Christianic history, and the Jewish people also know about this flood. And all over the cultures, we have the story of this great flood. And when this flood ended, then these great giants came. These giants all over, there are pyramids in all 5 continents in the world, and there are pictures of these giants who have a watch-like thing on their hand, and they are carrying a bag, and they say that these giants restarted the society. They gave us the laws, they gave us civilization, they gave us farming again, and what we see is after the great flood, suddenly humans were building houses, suddenly humans discovered farming, suddenly there was an explosion of technologies. So how is that before the flood there's nothing, there's no history, and after the flood we achieve all these great things? We're making buildings, we're doing farming, we're making machines and everything. So yeah, that's the history.
Yeah, as I said, like my perspective is this, that there could have been alien contact with past humans, and they would have given them maybe advanced technology or destroyed them. but it's very difficult to say with certainty, like if this happened or not. There are indicators, like you said, and there are also the case of the pyramids, which still hasn't. Some people attribute it to a lot of slave labor, but it still doesn't explain its existence. And so alien contact with past civilizations does seem plausible. Especially that they are finding planets which can be habitable in as close as 200 light years away.
As close as
So a signal traveling at the speed of light, but a UFO, maybe they have discovered faster than light travel. That could also be a thing.
That's
Mr. Wali.
what? As the podcast is still going on, I was just watching that. Is it still live? So yeah, what were you saying?
So this is plausible, like the UFOs with ancient civilizations and aliens.
Me and Dani, when we were little, we used to hear this guy called Isaac Otha, and he
Isaac
had
Otha,
this
he is a-
ridiculous theories about.
But he was, I think, a prof about the future. I
Mm.
think we should do that series, something like that. He was talking about, what is it, Kardashev
3 scale,
Yes.
Kardashev 2 scale, and
Dyson sphere.
Dyson spheres, and so what did Isaac Arthur say about us humans? He made this whole podcast about how aliens came to Earth and they found primitive monkey-like apes and gorillas, and they did some genetic modification, and they made us humans with high intelligence. And what they wanted was gold. And getting gold, is a very difficult job. With all of our technology today, we cannot mine gold in like a very constructive way because it's in very little quantities.
Yeah.
So the aliens imprinted this in our brain that gold is the most precious metal on earth, while we don't use gold in anything. And the whole of civilization, we have been collecting gold and storing it in our pots so the aliens can come back one day and take all our gold and run away.
That is the great how do you say, mystery or dilemma, that we are the only intelligent beings that we know of. There is no other genetic cousin to humans as of today. They used to speak about Neanderthals and all that. There is no artificial intelligence which is advanced enough to be conscious, although that might be possible. No animal comes.
Dolphin.
Dolphin intelligence is, yeah, I mean, it is definitely, they are very intelligent, but they haven't built, societies and structures. Maybe they don't have hands. That's the reason. But yeah, so that's also a very interesting point, because I was just wondering with AI.
Did you watch Avatar, the latest part?
No.
Oh, do you want some spoilers? In Avatar, it's the half of the movie is about capturing whale, because James Cameron went deep sea diving after Titanic, and he went to Marina Trench and he saw these big whales.
It's a ridiculous amount of time in the ocean.
The movie, 1.5 hours is protection of wildlife, these big whales. Because in the movie, the whales have more neurons than the human brain, and the whales can sing songs, and they have families and everything.
They can actually do that.
They can actually do that on Earth as well.
Yes.
So, when whales are singing songs, do you think we are the most intelligent monkeys around? Maybe all this.
But they haven't been able to build. They are not writing poetry. They're not
coding.
They're not programming. They're not building a civilization. They are not leaving a mark on the planet. Maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, humans are actually very lonely if you think about it. There is no other, nothing else which we can,
Maybe we killed them all.
That is also a theory. But now we might be making one, which is AI, and we might be, that might just be a cure to even loneliness in the universe. It could be a conscious competitor, and then it could also be integrated with our minds, and then we will have this new human AI hybrid, like Ex Machina, you know.
Ex Machina.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that the story about that girl? That
Yes.
is, the developer made such a beautiful AI that one of the guys fell in love with the AI and he really thought that the AI was being treated very bad, and the AI tried to seduce him, and then suddenly the AI, when he fell in love and when he helped the AI escape, the AI locked the person.
That is the
And
scary part. Like, if we are going to
like that thing, it didn't feel shit. It was all manipulative.
exactly, if we are going to wrap the AI part up, it would be that this thing really has no clue what it's talking about. Really, it's not aware of any of the concepts or any of the logic. It just knows what word. Really, what ChatGPT does is it knows what word should come next. What is the most probable word, and just this fact um, encodes all the knowledge that we have as humans. So maybe we should think if we have the free will that we believe to have, that is another debate. But it's like ChatGPT is just following the pattern of probability, that what is the most probable word which should come next, and just by doing that thing, it can create this whole text. Really doesn't know what the text means. So if it is saying something evil, it would not care if there is an evil version of ChatGPT. So that is the scary part. We have this AI which can act like us, which can pretend to have emotions, and which can write poetry, which can write stories, articles, whatever, but it really doesn't know what it's doing. It's something which can pretend to be like us, but it's not us and can never be us. So this is the
Crux of the story.
Exactly.
I think author used to compare artificial intelligence, the relationship that we have with our pets, with our dogs and cats. We love them.
I agree. Yes,
We love them.
exactly.
We keep them in our home. We give them a lifestyle that they could never have in the wild, and they're happy with human beings rather than other pets, other animals, other cats and dogs, and they're very happy and they're living the best life. The AI would treat us as a cat. It would love us. It would give us the best life. But intelligence-wise,
No, I firmly believe, like from my background in AI and what I know, I firmly believe we are a lot dumber than AI. There is no comparison between how smart AI can be. It's just that it's scattered. It's not organized in one big way like our brain is. Our brain is specialized for many different things, but it's also coordinating in a generalized way. So this is absent. So we have specified AIs for everything, but they are not yet, AGI is not quite there yet, but when it will be, it wouldn't be something which is maybe as smart as humans. It will just, so what I'm trying to say is the moment we have AGI, it wouldn't be that it's something competing humans, it will definitely enslave us, for sure. Because if you look at ChatGPT now, let me give you one fact. It has a memory, a short-term memory of 2048 tokens or words. And humans have a short-term memory of, you know how much? 12 words. So if I'm telling you something, you might remember the general idea, but exact words, you wouldn't remember more than 12 of them. They have done experiments, some people can do 16, many rare occurrences of 20 to 25 words. But this thing has a memory of 2048 words. So it remembers each and everything you said to it. Yes, and right now it's restricted, it's a bit stupid. It's just a language model, so it's just like the small part of your brain. So the rest of the brain is being built up, and then it all connects. I think the Hollywood AI depiction is not that wrong. It's closer than we think. Yes.
Closer than we think.
So the only way out is what Elon Musk is doing already.
Yes, Elon Musk said that the only way to compete with this AI is to be one with the AI.
Exactly.
And put a chip in your brain.
That's what, yeah.
Have a supercomputer assist all what you're thinking, and you augment your consciousness with a superhuman.
That is the ultimate goal, I would say, should be the ultimate goal for humanity, to augment our existence so that we
So
can compete.
will you call that person a human?
No,
What is
no,
that
it will be a
person
hybrid
called?
for sure.
Hybrid of
It will be a
what?
hybrid.
God?
It will
Super
be a
God, Superman?
AI, human, not AI, it will be something, I don't know, it's like we haven't.
When you transcend to the artificial intelligence realm, then you are not bound by this body, and you're not bound by the desires that you have. Like we all this time we spend thinking about girls and how we will
And
do
food
what
and
we
sleep
have.
and all this.
And it has a wider perspective because it has so much knowledge. One of those Google guys who said that the AI had become sentient, the AI was telling him the AI was feeling all this knowledge at once. Such a massive library of knowledge it was just consuming and consuming.
Yes, maybe for another podcast we could have this topic that on one end we have these AI models which are obviously based on conventional computer science. These are made with programming, of course. But on the other side, we have also artificial brains being developed. Some researchers in a university have been able to create 1 million neurons in a dish which played Pong, and then these neurons were able to coordinate with each other, and they were able to make decisions. So this is another way that AI could go, that the substrate, which means the platform they are running on, will actually be a biological neuron. So it's both ways. We might transfer our consciousness to the computer realm, and the AI might transfer itself to a biological existence. So it's merger in.
But the question is that if you put a few cells in a petri dish, does that make a brain? And that's like, is there a soul? And you have to tell us about the experiment in which they created this.
Yes, exactly.
neurons
So there were
with
two.
polished little neurons, but that is so.
So let's just wrap it up with this, Mr. Wali. What do you say? This experiment. Okay. So they had these two petri dishes, which had a bunch of neurons, and maybe we can find an image or something to show.
What should I say?
It's just a brain in a jar or something. And that's an old concept of a mad scientist with a, maybe it's a nice thing to have on the side.
Jar or petri dish?
Or a dish. Brain in a petri dish. Yeah. This is a very. Okay, yeah, maybe, it's maybe the image is not that. Anyway, so what they did was, while you look up, I can just speak on that. What they did was they had these two petri dishes with collection of neurons, and then they had put some electrodes on these neurons to stimulate them, and then they realized that these neurons were making connections with each other just like in the real brain. So they were alive and they were making these neural connections, and then they trained these neurons to play Pong. So what they did was, whenever yeah, exactly. So when they were hitting the ball correctly, so the neurons could move this Pong, how do you say, racket up and down in a 2D game, and then whenever this was not going the right way, they would punish the neurons, but by giving them high voltage, and their connections would scatter. And then when they were behaving the right way, they would give them constant voltage so that they felt good in a way. And this is how we behave abstractly as well. Like, punishment for us is basically a loss of order. Yeah.
As soul, I don't think that a collective, we're just a collection of neurons. I believe that there must be something further. But that is
Yeah,
like a
that,
very
I mean,
big
if
topic.
they're able to build a brain, artificial brain big enough like us, and then it behaves like us and it talks like us, then it would be difficult to argue that this thing does not have the soul and we do.
But if it's mimicking everything that you do and not having
So
any
I
real
believe that
emotions,
if it can mimic everything, then it is that thing.
you can't believe a girl's tears. That's a Pakistani thing. Don't you believe
Or
in
a
your
Pachari,
tears?
really,
Your tears are believable for you.
Yes,
brother.
so exactly. So now we have these brain in petri dishes, and we have on one end this super advanced chat GPT, and I think the next few years will be very interesting, and obviously I think we will keep covering that stuff. So
For the next time.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, in conclusion, it's like we are in that part of human existence which I think we are the luckiest people ever to be alive. There was no human luckier than us because we are able to witness this great revolution of a new intelligent entity being formed and our own existence changing as well. Like, no other human has had the privilege to experience this. So that is something to think about.
Something. That's a positive note to end this podcast, guys. We had such a great time today.
That's it. I think we should go longer.
You wanna come at the end of the podcast?
Mr. Ahmed,
and
I
say
will
bye-bye?
want to take a short break then. क्या कहता है?
Let's just end the podcast. That was a very nice thing that Mr. Dani said. And to
But we should do more of this, like on future technologies, I think, and how to use them and how to be afraid of them and also be excited for them. I think it's both.
For the chat, what we're trying to do is create a process in which we come and create our content in such a way that is easily digestible for the audience, and we could use some sort of chat GPT to give us a few good ideas and a few good scripts, and then we could make 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos on that, create some shorts. Right now in this content, I think we can have a very good amount of shorts. We covered a lot of good topics from AI.
So anyone who's watching, please, should we say all that stuff to wrap it up? Please don't forget to like and subscribe and follow, or what do they have to do? Click the bell icon.
Wali Wonders, click the bell icon, and
yes,
about our new channel that is coming very soon. We have 2 channels that are coming up. One is How It Works, and then the other is Why It Works.
Yes.
And we have a manifesto that Mr. Ali Faraz has made. Please tell us the manifesto, Ali Faraz, about
this in general. So in How It Works, we are going to share with you how a lot of work which we do basically is being done. For example, Mr. Wali, what would you be willing to show there?
Basically, we gave a little sneak peek today about Midjourney, about artificial intelligence. We want to be more hands-on experience. We want you to learn with us. We want to do these amazing pictures or renders or videos that we want to show you the process, and also talk about the future of this technology, how influential it could be, how it could help in your workflow. And then that is how it works. And then what is works is what?
Why it works.
Why it works.
So that would be any successful person or a business or an idea, and which has worked already and has been successful. Then we're gonna dive into why it is like it is, like why it got so famous, like why. So how it works, like if you talk about ChatGPT, we will tell you about the building blocks of these things and how to use it. But in why it works, we can maybe tell you what makes it stand apart. We can talk about Mr. Beast, we can talk about Elon Musk, we can talk about Andrew Tate, and any other influential person or technology, and tell you why it has worked the way it did. So maybe you.
So guys, the Matrix has attacked, and if you want to know how to escape the Matrix, there's only one channel, one guy,
Wali
Wali
Wonders
Wonders.
podcast.
Thank you, signing off.
Okay,
Sudhari.
respect. Peace out.
Peace out.